All right, this is my last example. It's showing you how to read this particular table. And it says for these, this is for 36 through 40. It gives you a table for each one. And here at the top, you have x when x is 1, 2, 3, or 4. You have your f of x when x is 1 is 4, f of x when x is 2 is 2, f of x when x is 3 is 1, f of x when x is 4 is 3, so forth and so on. You have the same thing for the derivative of f, g of x, and then the derivative of g of x. All right, so basically you're reading a table. Now the instructions said that you're given this table, f of x, g of x, and their derivatives. And you're going to use the table data and the rules for differentiation to solve each problem, which means that you're going to be using the power, the product, the quotient, and the chain rules. All right, so going to part 1. Part 1 gives you h of x, which is f of x plus g of x, and you have to find h prime of 4, or the derivative of h at 4. So first of all, for this particular problem, we're going to be using just the basic derivative power rule. And if I want to find a derivative of h of x, I have to find a derivative of f, which is f prime of x. And then I have to also find a derivative of g, which is g prime of x. Alright, once I get that, the next thing, x has to be equal to 4 because it says find h prime at 4. So h prime at 4 equals f prime at 4 plus g prime at 4. Alright, now I'm going to use my table. So first I need to go back to the table, f prime at 4. So f prime at 4 would be here. That would be 2. Alright, I also need g prime at 4, and that would be 1. So I go back and I substitute that in. So f prime at 4 was 2. G prime at 4 was 1. And 2 plus 1 is 3. So my answer for part 1 would be h prime at 4 is equal to 3. Alright. Part 2 says h of x equals f of x minus g of x. Find h prime at 1. So my derivative of h in this case would be equal to h prime of x equals f prime of x minus g prime of x. Alright, and now that I have that derivative, I have to find the derivative when x is equal to 1. So I have to find f prime of 1 minus g prime of 1. Alright, so I go back to here. So f prime at 1. F prime at 1 is going to be negative 2. And g prime at 1 is also going to be negative 2. So I'm going to go back and substitute that in to my formula. So negative 2 minus negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2, which is equal to 0. So h prime at 1 is equal to 0, and you're done with part 2.